All right, hello everybody, and we are back. Sorry for the
We are.
delay, folks. Um,
You need to stop being a savior of the world, man.
it's yeah, I know. It gets in the way of things, saving the world, doing recap shows. It's hit or miss. So I'm kind of upset at myself for
You should be. You should be.
having ruined this for you yesterday.
Yep. hmm I was still living. You know what? It was ignorance and it was blissful,
Oh man.
and you took
Well,
it away from me.
maybe it's more blissful now. Like who
Oh
knows?
no, I'm pretty sad. I mean, we started this whole show around a show it was going to be canceled, and it got canceled sooner than I thought.
So yesterday, when we were trying to get time frames and realized we were going to be delayed in the show, I made some comment about how the big news, and Guude was like, "What big news?" And I was like, "Don't tell me I just ruined this before being on the air." And yes,
Yep. I had no idea. Had no idea they'd canceled the show. I think it's weird they're not going to do anything like bye,
no,
like nothing.
they apparently Friday's show that went out got such poor ratings that on Sunday Fox was like, "Nope, done immediately, pull it." Go home."
Wow. It wasn't even a weekday. They just
No,
fucking like they went in on the weekend and
yep, I heard about it on because I heard about watching football. And that was
what do you
unexpected
mean?
to me.
Like
I was
breaking
watching.
news.
Yeah, I was
No.
watching. Yeah, I was watching football, and it flashed across the football screen. No, I'm just kidding. Somebody actually had commented on our last video.
Oh.
It said something about the big news, and I was like, "Oh, they can't be serious. They can't mean, can they?" And I just typed in like Utopia in Google on my phone, and it was like Utopia canceled immediately.
Wow.
So for those who don't know, Utopia has been canceled
Right.
immediately.
Immediately. So do we even talk about the last show?
I mean, we should because I have some things I want to bring up about the last show. The problem is now there are a bunch of questions that will never, ever, ever get answered.
Well, that's kind of what we thought was going to happen from the start, right? We talked about do you think they're going to show them getting canceled on the live stream? And they didn't, apparently. From what I was reading on the Reddit, they shut down the live stream and were only like showing the clips while they like had their final meeting and kicked them off the set.
I really wish they had showed like at least something at the because I watched these. Somebody had the last 2 hours of the live stream footage. They put it up on YouTube, and it literally ends with them doing like normal things and like preparing lunch or something, and then it goes to a clip and says the live feed will be back momentarily, and apparently that was the end.
Wow, it just never came back.
Nope, just never either never came back or it went to clips at that point or whatever the hell they did. But that was the last 2 hours is up there on YouTube, and it's absolutely garbage.
Wow, so
Oh,
just normal day in Utopia, and then everyone gets kicked the fuck out.
yep. And so we never got to see who they chose. Granted, the Reddit probably tells us who they chose of because there was new people that they could have brought in.
Right.
Two of them came in at the end of the last episode. Some very flamboyant elderly hairdresser versus I don't remember what the other guy did because he didn't stick out in any way to me that I recall.
I don't even remember these people.
Yeah, they were at the very. It was scenes from the next Utopia. I
Oh,
think that's what
gotcha.
it was. The it's basically like the Dead Sea Scrolls of Utopia. Like they'll never be seen for real.
I
But
like how so many people just left in the last episode. Like, I loved it when Bree was just like sitting there, and then she just like got up and left. She just left.
now she. So they said at the beginning, which I didn't like, the crazy narrator dude, all Halloweeny and looking even worse than he normally does. Straight up at the beginning says, by the end of the show, 3 more people will not be here. And I was like, that's kind of ruining a lot of the suspense that
Right.
could come
Yeah,
from the
totally.
show.
Well, the whole this is a Halloween episode was really weird anyways. Like the guy was that show, man. That show couldn't
Poorly
even have made
edited
it.
in every way.
Yeah, oh yeah, yeah. I don't think he could have made it on YouTube. I'm pretty sure we get more views on the recap than they get on the show.
That's probably true. So 3 people ended up leaving before the last episode aired, which they didn't know was the last episode at the time. But they they changed the whole thing around. I don't know if it was trying to make it better, and they made it so that America votes for everybody who goes up.
Right. I think they were trying to get us involved, way too late, obviously. Because, you know, every other time whenever we voted, they didn't really push the whole website or anything like that. And this time they actually pushed it like, this is where you go vote, you know?
But
I
the thing is, they pushed it in an episode that they had already had people vote.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, I know. The live stream people had already made that decision. But I guess in the future, I don't know.
I
I
wonder
don't
if
know.
they
It's
saw
weird.
an uptick in like live stream activity at the end, and that's why they really tried to push that way, assuming the show was going to go forward, that they could get more people into the live stream.
Mm. Hmm.
But either way, America voted for three random people to go up, and I say random because I think they were pretty stupid choices. Of
Well, I think they voted for Aaron because they don't like that he doesn't wash his hands.
That's possibly true.
They voted for Rob because of stuff he said in the public on Twitter a while back. And then they voted for Brie because they'd never liked Brie.
Which stuff did Rob say in public again?
Rob said a lot of anti-gay. He made a lot of anti-gay comments and stuff like that. Like if you go look at the subreddit, there's just like tons of his old Twitter stuff where he's basically John Rocker.
John Rocker. Does he say anti-tall comments too?
Probably, I'm sure he does.
Or
sure he
anti
does.
even normo height people? Like,
Yeah. So I think Rob was hated for things that didn't really happen on the show necessarily. Though those last couple episodes of Rob, I think he was just trying to play to the whatever the producers were asking for because he just went completely bipolar. So
you know, he went bipolar in this last episode from what they showed on these little clips here and there. Prior to this show, I had been looking at the Reddit a little bit and found that there was a huge blowout fight, and somebody had posted it on YouTube as well from the live feed. So I watched there was a lot more to that fight than they showed on the last episode. Basically, Bella kind of like went off her rocker in one direction and really pissed Rob off when she said how much money have you made? But it was a long, heated thing built up into that.
right.
So
and
I didn't.
the show was like 2 minutes.
Yeah,
tops.
I didn't feel that the show, when they had played it, did Rob justice in that at all. They definitely made him look like the biggest jerk in the world for... Yes, he was being a baby and a jerk, but it wasn't nearly as warranted to look at the way he did from what I had seen on the YouTube.
Well, that's the problem with shows like the format's not set in stone, and they're trying to edit together stuff after just 1 week. There's not enough production time to really get together the clips that you need, and then you're asking America to vote people out, but you're not showing enough for them to truly vote people out based. I mean, it's just the whole format's fucked. It doesn't work.
So, did you notice in this last episode how many, what do they call it, confessional videos there were?
Oh yeah. They started doing that. Like, oh, this works in some other shows. Let's have you sit down and talk directly to the camera.
That was actually one of the things when Utopia first came out. I did some reading on it to find out, and that was one thing they said that they would not do because they wanted to be more of a realistic, we're just following people show. We don't want them to act and feel like they're on a show. That's why they're in a compound with hidden cameras. It's because you want them to act like they're not in a show, but at the same time, then they just turned it into like, it must have been like a last ditch effort saving grace.
Yeah. I think that whole last episode was like, I imagine they sat in a boardroom and like they threw ideas out. They put them on a whiteboard and they narrowed it down to, let's get the pedocaster to wear a Halloween. It's a Halloween episode. Like, like what's popular right now? Halloween.
Halloween?
Like, yeah.
Should have had him put on a pumpkin on his head. Maybe it would have been more bearable for people to watch.
Yeah.
So whole show goes downhill in a blaze of nothing. I mean, it was like a spark of possibly... you can't call it a blaze of glory because it was just garbage. It was horrible the way that it ended. I need to know what is going on with people visiting the compound at the end.
Which time?
Well, so Amanda, is that her name? Her, like, that's how great the show, how big of an impression it has on me. I don't even know for certain if I have these people's names right yet after 12 weeks of the show being in the air. Amanda, her sisters come and visit randomly by surprise. That's allowed on this show?
I guess so. That's what I've come to realize over the whole... Well, I mean, nothing's allowed on the show because it's done, but that's what I came to realize. Yeah, people just show up, man. It's not the first time. what's his name? The hillbilly guy. His wife just showed up.
But they're
Remember, and his son?
allowed to. That was the thing, that they're allowed to once a month. Somebody can, or once a month, or once a week. Somebody can have a visitor come, and they have to agree who gets to have that visitor come.
Oh, well, I guess they all agreed. She just didn't know about it.
Yeah, that everybody agreed except for the person whose visitor was actually coming.
Yeah, yeah.
And then besides that, the fucking beekeeper.
He's just there every day, man. He
Without
just basically
bees.
moved in.
Without
Yeah, no, there's no
bees.
bees. There's no bees. I thought there were bees. There's no bees though. The bees are coming.
I thought there were bees as well, which is why I thought he kept showing up there. And then he, God, it was such like a middle school play. He like walks on up to Mike and he's like, "Hey man, I wrote you this note." Like, it's.
I love how he tells Dedeker, "So I have something I want to tell you. I'm polyamorous."
Yeah, where the fuck did that come from? Like,
It came from him watching the fucking TV and writing, taking fucking notes about what to tell the girl he wants to date.
good. I completely am glad that you're on board with my thought process on that as well, because I was watching it and I was like, he's a polyamorous beekeeper? Where did this come from? Like, and then as he's like,
Beekeeper had to be part of that.
oh,
Are his bees polyamorous too?
oh, they might be. I mean, if they're not on contract.
Are there more than one queen per hive?
Yeah, which apparently the bees themselves, when Mike brings it up to him, which is when I knew after this middle school like fight that they had, when he gives him a note because you're being mean to me lately, blah blah blah.
I mean, other notes he took from watching the show. Like he just sits around and watches the show in the live stream, and then comes in with his notes.
Yeah, and then Mike says, "Where are the bees?" And he says, "Well, they're on contract." Then what the fuck are you doing there? Like, what were you there for in the first place? They're on contract where? Are you even a beekeeper?
They're very important bees, okay? They're they're at the music venue at the moment.
They're doing a concert tonight. They'll they have an autograph signing tomorrow, and maybe by the weekend you can have the bees.
He's just out checking the area to make sure it's adequate for the bees. He's smelling all the flowers.
He's having sex with everything he can apparently around, like,
Because he's polyamorous.
oh my god. So in the Reddit, it was funny because after the show got canceled, they did an AMA from somebody who said that they were supposed to be the next Utopian, or one of the next Utopians. They went through the interview process and they were pretty much told, on a moment's notice, we'll call you and let you know when you fly out to like audition with the cast in order to get voted in. And he was talking about his stages of going through with like what he did and the interviews and how they went and what they asked him and this and that. And all of a sudden there was this post from somebody called the Utopian Beekeeper. And all it said was, "How does it make you feel that if you got on the show and got with one of the girls, that I would have just taken him right out from under you?" So, oh,
I want to believe that's really him.
you know what? The fact that he must watch the live stream so much to have all those notes, and that must be all he does, is he watches the live stream and then shows up to the show. That probably is him.
It was the most desperate thing I've ever seen, I think. It was just sad to watch this poor guy that he just went home and watched. He basically studied and just come on to the show for this one woman. It's just sad. The whole thing's sad, man.
Do you think he was a plant from the producers, or do you think he was just some deranged dude on his own?
I'm convinced they're all plants from the producers at this point. Like, just like that thing I linked you to yesterday where Bella was in a damn movie at some point. Her real name isn't even Bella.
So I didn't even understand that clip that you sent me. Like, so she was the person in the movie.
Which is a skinny person.
Dynamite Highway, is that what it was called?
Something like that.
For those out there? Yeah, who was a skinny and relatively attractive girl. And all of a sudden it kept flashing to somebody doing commentary about their role in the movie.
And it was her, right? It was definitely her.
It was her, like, but she was 50 and fat.
Right. Apparently she's gone through different phases. She was skinny at one point, an actress. Then she did commentary on her stuff when she was fat, and now she's skinny and crazy and on Utopia. And her name's now Bella.
You think she killed herself after the show ended?
Oh, God. That's it. She's done.
She's like, I don't even know where else to go with the show. So I wish I had the link to it right now. Somebody had linked me to some stuff that I was researching a couple shows ago that we did, that through the, rabbit hole took me to this page on showing me everybody. They figured out who everybody was who doesn't go by their real name. Showed me like Hex, found out her real name, got her LinkedIn profile, and that she's actually like a recruiter for some major company or something like that. Like everybody pretty much is
something they say they're not.
Correct.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. It was weird. Like, if I kind of thought that some of them were there to for their 15 minutes of fame, but if that was the case, they wouldn't use fake names and stuff like that, right?
You would assume not if they really want their 15 minutes of fame, but at the same time, do you think Fox would let them use their real names?
Well, some of them definitely were using their real names, right?
I don't actually. Yeah, I guess Chris for sure they found was like a thriving, musician.
Is that the homeless person?
No, he's the Bree's boyfriend. Who Bree just walked away without saying a word to him.
Yeah, she just left, man. That was great.
Peace out.
So I want to mention Mike leaving too. After he has his high school fight with the beekeeper, he just leaves. He's like, I gotta call my mom. My mom. Gotta go. My mom.
But my mom, there was a call. She's serious.
Might be dead.
Sounds serious. Accident, maybe. Gotta go.
Do you think that was even real? I think he just wanted to leave. He was just like, I'm done with this bullshit. I'm out.
So anybody who would be, no matter where you're at, on a TV show, you could be out on the far reaches of the islands of, Survivor in the middle of the game. And if you get a call from your parents, and he didn't say he was told like secondhand, something happened to your mom, you got to go home. He got a call from his mom or from his family that said something was wrong with his mom. The first thing I would be like is, what's wrong? He had absolutely no idea. He thinks maybe it was an accident.
Right.
So he's got to go. Maybe it was an accident. I got to leave, guys. She might have been in an accident or something.
Something may have happened. She may have just taken a shit.
Yeah.
She's been in the bathroom a really long time. That was what it was. Gotta go.
He had to have bailed out for his own, he couldn't take the beekeeper anymore. He... didn't know what I don't even know.
That would be pretty hard, though. You got to admit, you're sitting there, you're in an environment where you're constantly being watched by the man that's fucking the girl you wanted to be with. He's there, every second, every conversation you have, you're like, that motherfucker's listening. He's sitting right there at home, probably naked. Don't know why the naked part matters, but he could be. He's just, it would drive crazy.
And one of the things that the beekeeper said to Dedeker at one point was, I can't believe he was so rude that he broke up with you in front of people, because he did it in front of a group of people that were sitting there. He said I need to move my stuff out of there. The whole fucking world can be watching you. You're on TV, live streamed 100% of the time.
Right. There's no way to do anything not in front of people.
Yeah. Should have waited until the show was over, until it got canceled before he... So what do you think's next for the citizens of Utopia? Do you think anything comes from this for any of them?
No, I don't. I'd have a hard time believing that this translates into anything successful for any of these people.
I think Dave might go back to jail if he's not already there.
Which one was Dave?
The ex-con left really early.
Oh, yeah, right.
So Bree left, Mike left. Why did they still vote somebody out?
Don't know, man, but it had to happen, so Rob had to go. And it was between Aaron and Rob, basically.
Seriously, if America puts 3 people up, and one of them says, you put me up, fuck you, I'm out of here.
Yeah, that should cover it, right?
Vote's over.
Yep.
I mean, I get it. Mike left. He wasn't on the voting ballot. Maybe that's why they would want to keep still voting, because otherwise America doesn't get a say at all. But Bree's gone.
Yeah, she left. That should have been it. That was the vote.
Do you think they were planning on whittling down the cast? Because I was actually wondering if maybe they were going to drop multiple people in every week. And even though they're still bringing people in to make it look like the show was still doing well, they were just going to kind of whittle it down to as little people as possible, trying to cancel it on a less affected people vote. Because they probably have contracts with these people. And if you don't walk out of the compound, if you don't get voted out, you probably have some type of year-long contract
Right.
That
Right.
covers
They're
you
still
for
getting
something.
paid. Yeah. 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 Honestly, I'm sure that's the case, and I bet the people that walked out like they did or had emergencies might feel kind of silly because it got canceled so soon after that,
Right.
basically.
Right. Like he could have stuck it out for 2 more weeks and you could have had like a year's worth of pay or like
Right.
something like that.
Yeah. But I don't know. I think they were all frustrated with a lot of stuff that we couldn't even see. Like I think Bree leaving. Like I think all of the stuff we saw in the last episode was as a result of just the environment they were in, not necessarily like Utopia, but having to deal with this bullshit show, basically.
Well, like you said, they had to do some of the meetings like 5 times before the
Right.
producers accepted it. Yeah, that'd be.
Yeah. It's no longer a reality show. It's scripted. It's basically scripted at that
Was
point.
it ever a reality?
Well, yeah,
show?
you've got a point. I don't think it ever was. It never was. You're right. I mean, just like I was reading on the Reddit, like some apparently a lot of Bella's paintings are being sold on eBay. Like all of that.
Yeah.
Once they brought in the outside world as much as they did, it just was kind of stupid.
Yeah.
To me.
So where did that come from? Like all of a sudden, I was reading the Reddit one day and I saw that her paintings were up for auction, and then there was some random stuff happening with the way that the bids were going through, and all the people on the Reddit were really mad, and I was like, the hell are you talking about? Her paintings are up for auction. And
Yeah,
then
where I feel like we missed out on a newsletter.
I feel like we missed out
Subscription
on
or
a
something.
whole episode that other people saw or something because. And then in this episode, it was like, well, Bella earns more money because of her paintings on eBay. And I was like, when are you going to tell me about these paintings on eBay?
Yeah. No,
Maybe
man.
I want to buy them.
Well,
Probably
apparently,
not, but it's possible.
no one actually got them. That's the other thing I was reading on Reddit. They can't get a response. Like, no one's received anything they bought, and
Is
they
it
can't
because
get a
the show
response from
ended?
anybody. Yeah, so no, maybe maybe it's a good thing you didn't know about them because apparently there was no way to actually get the paintings
I
anyways.
think Bella's going to be a famous artist now.
Oh, I'm sure she is. I'm sure.
I mean,
I'm sure
technically,
that a
she's-
lot of these people are probably sad because they had a chance to money for nothing, man.
Well, hell, technically, Bella has now sold paintings and therefore is a full-fledged artist, right? Isn't that what it takes to become a full-fledged artist is when you sell
It
your
was
first painting?
at least professional. She's a professional artist.
Professional artist, yep.
Jesus Christ.
Wow. Well, they made something out of somebody for no reason. I have nothing else to say about this show.
No, I'm kind of glad it's canceled, but I was enjoying watching it fail at the same time. So I'm kind of sad it just got abruptly. I feel like there should be some closure. I hate when there's never closure.
They feel it's going to be better to put MasterChef Junior reruns in its place.
Are you serious?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean-
not even.
It did that horribly that they're like, nope, reruns of some other show that's on a different night is going to do better than you guys did.
You know, I was thinking about it, and I would put any amount of money that if you took that, dropped that cast completely, recast it as us, it'd be wildly popular.
Dude, Minecraft Utopia.
Yeah, I would put money that we would be way more entertaining and get way better ratings than they did.
The problem is half the day everybody be sitting at their computers like recording.
No.
video
We'd have to
games.
be getting compensated. We couldn't. Our YouTube channels would basically die for a year.
It's just the back of all of our heads, all talking differently,
Yeah,
like
right,
making
right.
commentary. No, I agree. I think that they scripted it way too heavily without trying. In my opinion, I don't think it was still like, here's a script, follow the script. But I think they forced them into so many ways that it turned scripted no matter what you did. They typecasted certain people into certain roles in such a bad way that it became just horrible. Horrible.
I still believe that they sat him down at some point and said, "You know what sells? Sex sells. So have as much of that as you can do. Also, drama sells. So do as much of that as possible."
Yep.
So sex and drama. I think if they could have got away with it, they'd have had drugs involved too, but they probably couldn't. So
And now, by the way, make the cameras follow you and go talk to them, because I really wonder when those meetings took place. Like, what did they do with the live feeds? Did they turn them off for a while, or did they like loop back some old footage like of them sleeping again while they
Probably.
like woke them up and had
'cause apparently
meetings?
that's what happened in a lot of the live feeds. It was a lot of bullshit where you couldn't, you had no control really. It was still up to whatever they were letting you watch, kind of.
As
Is what I
opposed
heard.
to the 300 and some odd cameras that you were
Right.
supposed to be able to choose from.
135.
Oh man, look at
Yep.
Guude, Utopia guru. If Utopia's ever,
right.
remember Was it Beat the Geek? Was that old show where they had like the Simpsons expert and they had like the do you not remember that old game show?
No.
Oh, they had like the experts from all like different TV shows and like TV series and things like that, and people went on as like a Jeopardy but against the geek in that
Okay.
that thing.
Huh.
You're gonna be the Utopia.
That sounds interesting.
I'm sure our fans can tell us exactly what it was called,
Yeah.
but
I don't want to
remember.
be that though. I'd rather be known for something else. Like I don't
The nice
know.
thing is, you could really know everything about this show, and it wouldn't take that long because it was only on
Yeah.
for 12 weeks.
It feels like it was faster than that, to be honest. I can't believe we've talked about this. Well, we missed like we probably talked about this for 10 weeks. I can't believe it.
Yeah, because
Have we? How many episodes is this? This can't be.
I don't know. There's only like 6, but because we missed like the first 4 weeks. It's been only since Survivor came on that we started doing this, like wrapped with that, and now we need something to fill the void. I think Amazing Race might have it, even though it's like halfway over.
Yeah, I don't have to take notes on this. You know what I have not enjoyed about this is that it's not the same watching those shows anymore. Like Survivor, I feel like I'm more meticulously watching the show than I ever have. In fact, like the last week, the one we have it recapped, because we missed our schedule. I did not take. I watched it. I was like, I'm just gonna watch it like normal, and I'll come back and watch it again and take notes. And I never got back to it, so I only have like half-ass notes. But yeah,
So this is actually getting in the way of Survivor enjoyment.
it kind of is a little bit. Like it's become way more serious. Does you know what I mean? Like, do you feel more? Survivor is way more serious than it's ever been. Does that make sense?
I know, I understand what you're saying. I just realized I had hidden the Survivor logo underneath your face. Actually, there we go. It's back. No, I agree. I've never had to watch something so meticulously. Like, look, like this is 2 weeks worth of show notes that I have like on a paper in front of me, and I literally watched it this morning. I got home from the fire station. I'm like, must watch Survivor to do recap show. And,
Right.
And you know, there's a lot of people out there, and I will tell you, a lot of people were actually extremely happy when I told them that the recap show is coming out today, because they're like, will you make this the new day? I'd rather watch it right after the show comes out. I'm sorry, guys. I don't get to watch it on Wednesday nights like everybody else does. The buffer zone helps
I
me.
thought it was good because it came out the day before it aired.
I thought it was perfect
what
that
happened
way.
last week kind of thing.
Yeah. People get to like see, oh, I'm caught up from last week now. Let's follow that into the new week, as opposed to where most recap shows try to do it like right after the show airs. And I don't. My schedule doesn't play that I can like do that. I can't do
The fact
that.
we're doing this at all is a miracle with your schedule, to be honest.
That's true. That's very true. And this is the first week that we're off our normal. Like, it's kind of amazing.
Like I've had to fly places and stuff, and we still managed. Speaking of that, next week I'll be in Florida.
Oh, Mickey? Mickey's
Yeah.
so far away.
Yeah. Well, no, we're not even going on vacation. It's just for Extra Life charity, basically. So my daughter and wife are coming with me, but I'm not going to get to see them most of the time. Like, 'cause
But
it's like
is your daughter going to see Mickey? That's the
Oh yeah,
important
she'll get to go see Mickey.
Okay.
We're gonna go to
Okay.
Disney the first day we get there, because there's nothing like going on that day. But then the next 2 days, it's just like 10 hours a day of work, so I won't see them at all.
I mean, it's sad to be on family vacation without family, but as long as daughter's happy.
Right? Yeah,
that's
yeah.
what
She'll
matters.
be much happier than normally having to stay home when I fly off somewhere. So, Survivor.
Survivor.
So last week, not the one that aired on the 5th, but it aired whatever day that wasn't the 5th. What day would that be? Like the 28th or something?
The 5th minus 7. 30
29.
days has September, April, June. Yeah, go
29.
ahead.
So at the end of the last episode, they were out of rice, and going into this episode, something was gonna happen, and you pretty much called it. He just came in and said, "Fuck your camp."
Yep.
Just took everything.
Yep, took it all. Well, you know, he didn't even take it all. He took...
He just took, like the stuff they won.
Yeah,
basically.
their comforts. He left their shelter, which I was surprised because
That's what I thought you were saying before. They were gonna rip down the shelter.
I thought they were going to rip down the shelter because that's what they had done in one of the previous ones. They like tore down their shelter and made them start over again.
That seems too far to me, but I mean, I think they were more ruthless back in the day. I think that the older seasons that Jeff was just like a sadist.
I agree, but I think this team actually deserved it. Well, maybe not this particular team, but the old team that kept trying to do barters and all that stupid crap.
Yeah.
I think
Well,
that,
it's kind of bullshit, wasn't it? Because like they'd done this merge, and like Jeff is just they're only old tribe by name, not by
right.
people.
And there's only like two of them from the old, three
Right.
of them from the old tribe. Right.
But they're being treated as if they are the old tribe. Like Jeff's even like, well, you made this bed, now you got to lie in it. But
No,
I'm gonna take the
yeah, I agree. I agree. It's not most of their faults. They just walked over and are kind of like, oh, we
They were
have
like,
nothing.
I had a lot of food over there, and now the assholes that ate all this food are eating all that food,
Yep.
and I don't have any shelter now either.
Yep, I'm starving because I didn't eat, and now I'm starving because there's no food to eat.
Yeah, I think it was kind of bullshit that they were. And then going into this episode, they just merged right afterwards anyway.
That is kind of funny that they ended up just merging shortly after. And then Jeremy was so pissed because Jeremy was like, suck it up, we can win food challenges and get like food. You guys aren't thinking of the long term. Which in my mind, I was like, no, dude, you're not thinking of the long term. A food challenge gives you one meal, whereas you need something to sustain. But then I'm like, oh yeah, if like 4 days later you realized you were going to merge, maybe you could have sucked it up for a little bit.
I was in his camp. I thought they should not take the rice. I thought they should keep their comfort, get off their ass, walk down the beach, grab some snails, and eat them. Like, I thought that they could sustain themselves long enough that the game would change. But that's just because I've watched this many seasons. But I would think they would have been on the show, right?
You would think I'm betting in their shoes. It's probably such a different
Right. Well, you're
thought
so
process.
hungry.
Well, as well as somebody dumb like Alec who keeps going like, well, let's just ask him. Let's do it. I'll do it if you guys aren't going to do it. I'm the man. I'll get anything I want out of everybody and forever. And that's, I mean, he's somebody who's really pushing people one direction, and I think everybody's afraid to kind of get on everybody else's bad side
Yeah.
type
yeah.
of deal.
Yeah, I can see that.
I mean, especially a tribe like that is so weird because that's the one that has one couple and a bunch of non-couples,
Right.
which turned out not to play out anything.
Yeah, nothing came of that at all, basically. Sadly. Well, I think they did the merge too quickly. I think they should have gone another challenge without a merge.
How many of them are left now?
I don't know.
I'd have to.
I have no idea.
I want to say there's like 11 or something like that left, but I'd have to go through and count.
Yeah. Well, normally they do the merges where there's an odd number to make it more interesting. So, you're probably right. It's probably 11. But after they traded the rice, they went on and won immunity, which I wonder if they would have won without the rice. Like, I'm wondering if they had not done that deal, would they have still won? Phone went off.
Well, and the only reason that they ended up winning that is because Josh and Reed were beasts at putting together a puzzle.
Oh yeah.
They were so far behind, and it was really funny to see the other team powerhousing the physical part of the challenge, and then they get to the puzzle, and they just kind of were like, "Look, a cloth."
Yeah.
Nope. Like run around like madmen and like try all these different things. Whereas Josh and Reed were like, let's just set them all down right here, get them all laid out, and then be like, just go put them up one by one. And they just like rocked through it like it was nothing.
Yeah. I don't know what the hell the other tribe was doing. Like you said, they were just like, ah, and nothing happened.
Yep, they were ahead by like they had like three of they only had like even three things left to put up on there, and they couldn't figure out the order of the last three, the easiest ones to put on a puzzle. And they were just like
they must have just been flustered or something. I imagine it's got to be really hard in that situation. But yeah, you're right. They just basically failed.
So Dale, genius in his thought process.
Yeah.
Pulls out that stupid little thing he took at the very first episode, and he's like, I'm going to pretend this is an idol. And
they believed him.
Well, they believed him.
Well, okay, they believed the one guy. Well, one idiot. He convinced one idiot, and the idiot convinced everyone else.
Well, and the ironic thing is, he goes so far, which got so far-fetched, but it's one of those things. It's like if it sounds too good to be true, it is too good to be true. But it didn't seem like people thought it was too good to be true. And he literally said, "If you like, I know I'm at your whim right now. If you protect me, I will give you my idol." Now, if I was in the position of John and I'm hearing that, and I'm hearing you have an idol, I could protect you and you'll give it to me to show your loyalty and you're going to be on my side. And I really believed you had an idol and that you would actually give it to me, which John, I believe, did think that.
Mm-hmm.
That would have been a hard thing to pass up.
I don't know why they voted him out.
I also don't know. And that's what I'm wondering. What did we miss behind the scenes? Because why would you vote somebody out in that case?
Other than you think he's got an idol and you don't believe he'll actually give it to you.
Yeah. Because they split the votes in order to make sure that if he does play his idol, that we can still get somebody else out and we're not screwed. But if he did play his idol, granted the idol would be flushed, but you all of a sudden lost any amount of faith that he had in you at all.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Now you have someone that's not happy with you and you didn't get the idol and who knows what's going to happen.
And the merge is coming, whether it was coming in the next episode or not. You knew it was coming soon. I think that was all completely bad moves based on what we saw.
Yeah.
But at the same time, obviously he didn't have an idol, so it turned out to be the right move.
I mean, and maybe they figured that out and they didn't even show us that because it's not good TV, you know?
Right. Right. And I'm still even trying to think, what would be the right move? Keith. It was Keith or Dale. Dale lost his loved one. He's a single. Keith has a loved one he's going to hook up with on the merge.
Right, going into the merge, I would rather get rid of someone with a loved one, personally.
Because I don't think they were close enough to Keith to keep him on their side.
Right, they thought they were, or they did in this episode that just aired. They thought that they could get Keith and Wes, but
I don't know what goes into that, though. And that's the thing is, it's like they kept talking about, Keith and Wes will be on our side. It's like, really? You like kind of ostracized him on...
Right, yeah. And then even when they get back to camp, they were like, oh, well, we had to split the vote. We couldn't tell you that.
Yeah, we had to split the vote.
It's like, but you were never going home is what they kept telling them. But
yeah, by the way, you're our fallback guy. That's why we split the vote onto you, so you would have gone home and not one of us. But you weren't going home, of course.
Right.
Of course. Yeah. So Dale definitely convinced them that he had an idol, because otherwise they wouldn't have split the vote.
Right, yeah. It's just weird that they went the way they went, I guess. It seems like it would have made much more sense to break up the loved one before a merge and to possibly get that idol if they really believed that he had an idol.
So what did you think about the immunity challenge, and not the one that just aired, but the last episode? They put together that face mask, blindly going through that course and feeling.
That was weird. I liked it, but
I thought it was really weird, but really interesting. But I was really confused at why they put up Blair.
Yeah, I didn't understand that either. Yeah, I thought I always wonder about these because when they take off the bandana, there's never anything else under there, right?
You think they can see a lot underneath?
Yes. Every time they do that, I feel like could he see? Because he was like just taking out the stuff that was wrong and putting in the right stuff.
At the very last minute, he was like, oh, nope, not you. Put something else in its place.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, I've been in those type of things before, too, where you can kind of, like, look down. You know what I mean? I don't know, man. I want better eye coverage in these type of things.
When I was at my fraternity house, not that we hazed anybody or anything like that, but we always utilized, if you had to blindfold for some reason, like a taste test, a blind taste test or something. But you put cotton balls. You had them shut their eyes and put cotton balls and then put something there so that you didn't open your eyes. There's nothing under these bandanas that are just tied on like...
Yeah. And they don't even look that thick, right? Like I feel like you could open your eyes and
just sees through it.
Right. And the things that were wrong were bright red too. I don't know. I still question how much room there is for cheating in those type of things. It's kind of like you were talking about with the mud before. Maybe there's something going on we don't get to see. Where like there's like a mud wiper. Maybe there's like a cotton ball guy, and they like
right before he's like release your blindfold. He's like, oh. Got him. It's like the tennis guy. He like rolls by the net.
Right. I mean, they could basically they could do 2 takes to some degree. It seems so seamless that if I find it hard to believe that's what they've done, but who knows?
But they're flipping back and forth constantly at the end of the challenge because showing like the different like pieces of the puzzle, the different people's facial reactions, and then all of a sudden it's Reed wins immunity, or like whatever they say.
Right? So there's no time.
Right, but I mean, they could have just done that and then had the show of him taking off his blindfold is him with a different blindfold on.
Yeah.
Because they took off the one. I mean, who knows? I have no idea if that's the case or not. But I agree with you. It all seems like you could easily see what's going on. Though they do hit their heads quite a bit. So that's
true.
That's some dedication if they can see. They're like, well, Jeff told me to pretend I couldn't see. Oh, man. So that was last week's recap. I don't understand why they didn't vote Keith out. Yeah. I thought it was a smart move on Dale's part. Like, it was his last hope that he could have had. I think he played it as well as he could have. No fault on him for going home in that episode. It happens, and I got to applaud him for what he did there. Which brings us to today's episode, which obviously the last week one showed us, the merge was coming. They showed. I kind of didn't like that they showed that in the next week on Survivor. That you already knew it was a merge. It was like, next week, you're merged. And I'm like, thanks.
Yeah, I hate when they do that. Like, or the drop your buffs. Like, I hate. Don't show me that.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it's hard to do a next week without, because that's like the first thing that happens, right? So they can't show anything basically. Next week on Survivor, ocean. Snakes. You know what I mean?
Next week on Survivor, there's fire.
Yeah. There will be a tribal council.
There's Flint. Is it the old one or another new one? You'll find out. And I don't like the fact that a couple weeks not in a row per se, but 2 weeks apart from each other, they did something whereas they mixed up the tribes, then they merged to not have a reward challenge at all.
Yeah.
Not have exile.
That's what I hated when they added exile, was they kind of removed reward challenges.
But they haven't had either.
Yeah, no, I know. I'm like, that's one of my favorite parts of the show is to have both, because I feel like whenever you get that reward challenge, it creates animosity, right? I mean, they managed to pull that off by having the feast still. So basically, they kind of got a reward.
The feast, by the way, shrimp and lobster.
Right, I'd be kind of pissed off.
Have they ever had a feast like that before?
No.
Granted, they usually have steak and burgers and things, so it's not like low-class feast, but shrimp and lobster.
Well, I'm wondering if it was like, I saw that, I was like, I'd be kind of pissed I was getting seafood, be honest, out here on the ocean. Like, I'd be tired of seafood at this point.
I was meant for, like, racking in, like, all the expenses out there. Like.
Right. No, yeah, you're right. But maybe it's cheaper out there. Maybe it's, like, local. It's like, this is, like, basically.
They probably used the fishing gear that the one tribe had to give back, and they just caught shrimp and lobster.
Yeah. They're just, yeah. And then the trail mix debacle, man. Trail mix.
So I wish they had cameras like Utopia did, and I could go back and like watch all that stuff. But I want to know if when they left the feast, did everybody grab what they could, or did everybody leave and Julie was like, well, shit, there's trail mix here. Hell, I'm taking some trail mix, like type of deal.
Well, they showed them talking about it while they were still eating, and they were like, let's take as much of this as we can, and they showed them dumping stuff in bags, but I really only remember them seeing her bag getting stuff dumped in, but I kind of thought everyone kind of dumped as much of everything they could, so I thought there was another pile of trail mix, to be honest. I didn't think she had it all. The fact that it appears as if she had it all and wasn't sharing it was kind of bullshit.
Or that they ate all the stuff that they already had.
See, that's the thing. They don't show it, right? So you don't really know exactly how it happened. Maybe she had just said, like, okay, this is my pile of trail mix.
And I'll bring back all this stuff for the tribe. And then, knowing people how much rice they can eat, they probably were just like, trail mix, nom, 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 nom.
Yeah. Well, that's what it seemed like they were doing when they found it in her bag. They were like a bunch of fucking squirrels or monkeys or something that steal from you. And they were just like, everyone eat the trail mix as quick as possible.
And, and where did that even come from? All of a sudden they were like, man, we can't find the trail mix anywhere. Julie's out sunbathing. Let's go through her bag. She must have.
They were not going to go through all the bags. I thought they were going to find an idol. Honestly, I was like, shit, they're about to find an idol in someone's bag.
I was going to say, you know what, Keith has that idol. I wonder where he keeps it. Because that would have been.
I've always wondered about that. Like, even when they come back to tribe after they found it and it's in their pocket, like, how do you pull that off? I would be like just like I think having like a convulsion fit, trying to like act normal. I'm normal. It's okay.
Just wear it around your neck and pretend you've always had it. Like,
right.
I brought this. I brought this with me. I mean, some people I see that they bury it somewhere, and that always scares the crap out of me because, like, it apparently says on that paper, I've seen in a few seasons, like they don't always talk about it, but it pretty much says once this is yours, nobody can take this from you. Like if they find it in your bag, it's not theirs.
Mm.
But
What if you find it out like under
if
a
I
tree?
go bury it by a tree and I'm wandering around, I'm going to have to take a piss, and I'm like, you know what? Who knows? Maybe there's an idol here. So I start digging around like Keith did, and a snake jumps up at me, and it's an idol. How am I supposed to know it's somebody else's?
Yeah, there's no way to know. Right. Right. And that's happened tons of seasons where Russell, for instance, found like 17 idols,
Mm-hmm.
just by digging. So there, I mean, that could definitely happen. I wonder if it has, and like the cameraman's like, no, sorry, that's not yours.
I mean, that could be. They could have to interfere at one point to
Yeah.
to say that, and then. But then what can you go? Hey guys, look what I found, and just have everybody go stand out in the place that you buried
Just
it.
look at it and wait for something
Yeah,
to happen.
everybody's just sitting there with their arms crossed, like, who's gonna come get this now?
Yeah, I guess if it had ever happened, I feel like they would have found a way to make it into the show because that'd be a very interesting situation where if like you hid your idol and someone else found it.
That's my goal if I'm ever on Survivor, is to know somebody has an idol and just go find it out in the wilderness somewhere. Like, look, I found your idol. Can't have it, but I found it. Like,
Yep.
proved
Yep.
it to you. So yeah, trail mix debacle after the feast. Oh, so when was the last time somebody was on Exile? Oh no, they were on it last week. They were.
Yeah. Yeah.
So rewards have to get connected with Exile, apparently, in this season. I don't like the fact that there's not a reward challenge, though, on all these things, because as you said, animosity, especially when you're merged, I think the initial thing to do, initially merged, let's make them fight. Because you have
Yeah.
to usually choose two people to go with you or something like that, which causes problems, and I
Right.
love the problems that it causes.
I'm wondering, don't they always do this though after the merge? Don't they? They give them a feast. There's not a reward.
Yeah, there's always a feast. I don't know if there's always a reward, or if they usually mix a reward into immune. I don't
Sometimes
remember.
that does happen where it's a reward and immunity challenge, but I feel like most of the time because they fill the showtime with the feast, so there's not like showtime
Right.
for reward.
But there's usually what I was expecting as a clue to the hidden immunity idol. They usually put a new
Yes,
idol
whenever they
out
were handing
there.
out all the buffs
Uh-huh.
and they were unrolling them, I was like, man, I'd unroll all of those as I was handing. I would hand them out myself and then roll each of them individually to see if there was anything in them. But yeah, there was nothing.
Yeah.
Unless there was, and no one found it.
So there hasn't been the last idol replaced yet. As well as it's now. So John Rocker still got an idol in his pocket. That's apparently still in play because they haven't replaced it yet. As far as we know.
Right.
There's no new idol at the merge, which there normally would be a new idol at the merge. I don't
Yeah.
know if I like that. And like you said earlier about what makes this recap show so difficult is I normally watch Survivor in bulk. I have a bunch of episodes that I watch all at once. And
Yeah.
now that I'm watching it week to week, it feels like I'm getting so little of what I'm used to, I guess.
Right. Yeah. I know
That
what
maybe
you-
there never is a reward challenge, and I'm just like, well, next episode. There it is.
Right. I feel like over the last few seasons, there's less and less reward challenges, and it makes me sad because I miss the car. I wish they'd bring the car back.
That was probably something by Ford, though, who dropped sponsorship with them or something. I'm sure it was.
Right.
a
Well, I've also
sponsor thing.
read that they wanted to get rid of it because they didn't like the dynamic it brought to the game. The fact no one had ever won the car.
That's coincidence. Come on. Well,
Well, no, it kind of became like canon at some
you
point
think
where
like
like
jury
all
votes were
show-
based on.
Yeah, like if you won the car, well, you're fucking done, buddy. You got a car. You're out. We're done with you. You won the car.
Car, $1 million. They're about the same, you know.
Right. Oh yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. 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 But that's it's the truth though. One thing I don't understand, not related to cars or any of that stuff, is why the fuck John and Jacqueline are important to anyone. They're the two dumbest people on the show right now. Why do they keep ending up in charge?
Because of numbers. They're just. I don't think they're in charge.
But
They're
there's
just,
the,
I think
how?
they're the middle people. So whenever you're the middle people, everybody wants to sway you their way because your vote's going to be the deciding factor.
That's the thing I don't understand. They haven't been the middle people. They've stuck with the same alliance the whole way. They've done the same. They've been consistent with what they do. They're no different than any other couple.
Oh, not according to next week's possible spoiler.
Oh, well.
I mean, but that's also editing. But they make it look like they're about to jump ship and do something crazy and off the wall. But you never know where those things are
Right.
going to go. But I agree, and I don't get the dynamic of all the couples, all the singles, what they're really thinking, what they're going to do, and unfortunately, this week didn't help us even get into that group dynamic because of the way it all went down anyway.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
it's
I don't understand why the singles haven't banded together. Like, why are the couples allowing this to happen? Why are the couples allowing themselves to be separated? Why are they not? Why have the couples not band together to vote out singles? It seems cut and dry.
especially at this point because there's 8 people worth of couples, and
Yeah.
there's only like 5 singles.
Right.
Do
right.
it, tear them up.
Yeah. Get rid of them. Then start breaking yourselves up. But
Because the singles should be shooting for you guys to break up your
right.
couples.
And if as couples you break up couples, you're creating more singles. Like it's not a one-way shift. It's a tube shift. Like whenever if they vote out Josh, is that his name?
Yeah.
They vote out Josh. Now his
Reed's on the
boyfriend-
single side and
Right now,
angry.
Reed, yeah. So now you had 8 as a couple. You basically now have 6 as couples because you lost both of them, and now it went from 5 as singles to 6 because Reed's a single. So now it's 6 versus 6. You went from 8 to 5 to 6v6.
And now, no matter what couple you are, you have to sit there and think, we only have 2 more votes, maybe even only 1 more vote until this person's a jury member. I
Yeah.
need to get rid of somebody's loved one because if they make it to the end, obviously,
Right.
I mean, if you got to the end, if I made it to the end of a show and I was there with a loved one and my loved one was on the jury and they didn't vote for me, no matter how poorly I played the game, how backstabbing I was, and how much they were despicable or how despicable I was, and how much they were disgusted with what I did, your loved one better vote for you for $1 million.
Right. That's it. Like if you didn't, yeah, that'd be it. Like divorces, last name changes.
Yeah, I mean, you know, if anybody with a loved one makes it to the end, with their loved one on the jury, I mean, that's a jury vote for them. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. They should have been
Right.
splitting up these couples before. They failed at that, but they need to whittle them down as much as they can to hope that if I get rid of, like, Reed today, granted, I did what you said and made, the whole 6v6 thing, and it causes animosity, but I know if Josh makes it to the end now, he doesn't have that guaranteed vote anymore.
Right. No, and that's the thing. They're going to manage this, but that's because the couples are too dumb to stop them. Like they're going to end up. That's what was going to happen last night. I don't think. Julie. So I guess we can just say Julie quits, right? And so they don't have a vote.
It's crazy. I can't believe she quit.
Well, she was bad.
She
as
missed John Rocker. She literally quit because she missed John Rocker.
She couldn't handle it, man. She's the most they'd ever been away was 4 days,
And-
which answers some questions I had. I would try to understand why anyone would want to be with him, and I guess she's just like it's like Stockholm syndrome or something.
I was gonna say, do you think she's in an abusive relationship? Because that's what went through my mind. It's like she doesn't know what to do without him because she's so used to him being there, and she's like a submissive person. She can't
Right.
take charge. She just does whatever.
He is kind of that kind of asshole-ish type personality.
And
so,
that's one of the things I have. What did I have? Or do you think that she thinks John's cheating? And she needed to bail to go keep an eye on him.
That's funny. Well, he's still somewhere nearby, right?
He's somewhere on like Ponderosa. Is that what they call it?
Yeah.
The first time I heard somebody say it at Ponderosa, I'm like, why would they take the Survivor cast to an all-you-can-eat buffet?
They're just sitting around eating. You get off the show, you're
Constantly,
so hungry.
for whatever day you got let go, you're at Ponderosa eating plate after plate, salad bar, chicken wings,
Yeah,
ice
it's
cream
like little
machines.
cots. You just sleep, wake up, eat some more. They all have booths. They can just lay down in the booth.
So, anyways, back to Julie.
Yeah. It was really dumb, like the way she quit too. It was like they're mean to me. They say I have bad boobs.
Yeah, that was what I almost wrote down what she said, but I think I was laughing too hard to actually because she.
Yes.
I mean, and she did have some nice boobs.
No, they're bad.
Yeah, but apparently they're bad, so she's got to go. But yeah, she definitely brought up her boobs in the midst of the fact of why she had to go, and
Yep.
I was like, what is going on right now?
Jeff was way nicer than normal. Normally, when people are gonna quit, he's like, "Okay, you piece of shit.
Yep.
Thanks for wasting my fucking time
Yep.
and the show's time.
Yep. You giving
Get the
up?
fuck
Okay,
out."
fine. Get the fuck out. Like,
Where was that Jeff at? That's who I want to see when someone's quitting the game.
well, he probably hasn't had to deal with somebody with such bad boobs as she has.
All right, didn't know what to say.
People with those bad of boobs don't quit. So you know.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, she said they just don't like me because I'm better than them. Basically, I'm a better person, so they might think I'm vain.
Yeah.
It's like she basically said I'm vain, so they might think I'm vain.
I'm vain, so they might hate me because they think I'm vain. Those jerks thinking I'm vain because I'm vain. Yeah. So she leaves, which leads to no tribal. Unlike Utopia, somebody actually leaves, so they don't do a
right.
tribal council.
Yeah. Well, they've done
pick
that
somebody
before in
else out.
Survivor when someone quits and they still had a tribal.
They,
So
they
I wasn't
have.
sure.
I never know when they are gonna do that and when they're not, and that gets really confusing to me.
Yeah, it's not consistent this year.
And which kind of is fine because then it's not expected at the next
Right.
turn on what happens. But I wish I knew what went into their decision on
Yeah.
why they're gonna have a tribal or not. If it's maybe it's so many days before tribal.
I think they go into the show knowing they have to go through this many days in the show, and they expect one or two people to either quit or get exhausted and have to be removed for medical. And so I think if someone else had basically they're at a point where they don't need to get rid of someone. You know what I mean? So
Right.
they have like a calendar somewhere. It's like, well, as long as we have this many people, we're good. But if, you know
We
what I
meet
mean?
the Matrix. Keep going.
Yeah.
So what about Keith? Poor guy wins immunity.
Yeah. Yeah. Doesn't matter.
Means
Doesn't matter.
nothing.
Yeah, it was kind of screwy because I think that what's his name would have gone home. I can't remember his name. No.
Jeremy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I think he would have gone home,
Yep,
even though
I
he
think
thinks.
I think they were getting ready for him to go home, even though he thinks John's going home.
Right, right. I
Or
don't
Josh,
think, I
excuse
don't think
me.
there was any chance of that happening. But yeah, no, what's his name? James? No,
Jeremy.
No, not him. The other guy,
Josh.
John. No,
Wait,
no,
Josh, John.
Josh and Keegan.
Yes, Josh and Keegan. Those are them. Josh and Reed.
Reed. Yeah, that guy.
I'm,
Yeah, he thought
I'm
Josh was
looking
going
at the
home.
paper, so
Yeah, I'm so bad with names. I need to have a cheat sheet, like a poster.
so Reed will now be Keegan. So
it was like Keegan. So it's not even Keegan, it's Keegan. But yeah, no, fuck, I don't know what I was gonna say. Now they've had roll call. And I don't remember the guy's name at the start of it all. Jeremy.
Jeremy.
Yes.
I was hoping you'd make up another cool name for him.
This made me nervous. Yes, Jeremy thought that Josh was going home, but I don't think that was the case. I don't know why they're gunning for Josh and Keegan anyways. You still there?
Yeah, I am. I was trying to read something that I wrote that I can't actually read. Immunity equals. Bleh. I think I even mentioned something about Keegan in here.
We're watching the same show. What'd you think of that ball challenge?
I thought the ball challenge was pretty cool. I like the ones that they've limited the time frame, so it's not like you get into like you get to the end of the rope and you sit there forever until somebody messes up. I like that we had a second ball. Granted, there was nowhere to go from that. They didn't have like a third ball like thing going on, which they really didn't need. I thought it was amazing how quickly some of them dropped at the beginning. Like I have the list of people right here. I can tell you how many people there are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. There's 12 of them still.
Huh.
But
Okay, I guess it's not an odd number then.
it was not the people I expected to be good at challenges were the ones who made it to the end of that one. And this one's not, granted, it's not a physical challenge, but it takes coordination.
Yeah.
And some of these people that I didn't think really had any coordination either. I'm like, damn, hey.
I have like no faith in Wes. Maybe he's just been under my radar completely, but like I don't know anything about him. Like I don't you know
They
what I mean?
don't show him too much. And when they did show him in one of his little like confessional type things today. He was wearing these ridiculous cowboy boots. I don't know if you
didn't even notice that.
He was like laying down. You know how they do? They lay down by the beach and they're like, oh, anyways, blah blah blah. But he was like laying in this pose with these cowboy boots on, and I was like,
I didn't even notice that.
I was like, what is this? Like the Survivor? Did he go shoot a Survivor porn? Like right before
they
this?
in the background.
Oh yeah. But I mean, he got to the very end with his dad, and his dad whooped his ass.
Yeah,
but
it was close though, man. Any second, either one of them could have won that.
Right.
That's what at least that's how they showed it.
but it didn't really matter who won. Except
Yeah,
Brandon
well,
at this
exactly.
point.
Yeah, the immunity was pointless this time.
Do you think Julie would have quit if she won? Still,
No. Oh God, no.
you think
No.
she thought she was going home, so therefore,
Well, I think that contributed. I do think that contributed. I think that she realized, with the whole trail mix debacle, that she wasn't in good graces with the tribe, and so I think the trail mix is what sealed her fate, man. I think that was the straw that made her decide I got to go because trail mix.
trail mix ruins everything. It's so good sometimes, not always.
They were eating shit out of that trail mix that looked like whole peaches and stuff.
It was. It looked like some like fancy trail mix. I mean,
Yeah.
they did get it with lobster and shrimp.
That's true.
So
that's true.
I mean, it
That
was
was a very
probably
special
shrimp
trail
trail
they were
mix.
walking down.
It's probably fucking weed trail mix or something like that. You know? I don't know.
But yeah, I think it was a. I hate when people quit the game, and it definitely changes the game completely. I liked also whenever they wouldn't even let them come to the recap afterwards. Like if you quit, you're out. You don't even get to come to the final show.
Oh, real? I didn't
Hmm
pay attention to that before.
Yeah, they used to tell you like we don't want to ever see your face again.
So do you
wait
think
our
that?
time.
Do you think,
But no, they let because somebody quit not too long ago. That Colton.
But so Colton quit in his episode, but he faked an illness, which is why they let him come back on the last Blood versus Water. Because
But then they let him go to the recap.
did they let him go to that
I
recap?
think so. I'm pretty sure he was there.
I'd have to
Because whenever he left, Jeff was like, I pretty much had you pegged the first time around. I'm sorry we wasted our time a second
I
time.
wonder why they let him come back the second time then.
Yeah. Well, I think basically what you said, it was there was enough. It was good for ratings. Basically, there was enough people that hated him to the point where they wanted to watch. So they wanted him to come back, rating wise. You know what I mean?
I can't believe that guy quitting essentially twice when he actually the first time he quit, I thought he actually had a power play as well. I thought he was
Yeah, he was in a good spot when
Right.
he quit. Oh, my eyes hurt. Which
Yeah.
maybe his eye was hurt. Maybe.
I did find it funny the second time when he quit though, because it was Blood versus Water, and his loved one
His
was like,
boyfriend was still
His
there.
boyfriend was
Yeah,
like,
just like,
"Fine, f you, I'm staying." Like,
yeah. That was the first Blood versus Water, wasn't it?
yeah. I mean, there's only been two, so
Right,
if
right.
he's not in this one,
All right. Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Julie's gone. It was uneventful at the end because of the
Yeah.
fact that there was no tribal council, there was no reward challenge, and there was an immunity challenge that means nothing.
Yeah.
We got to watch them eat,
Yeah.
Eat more.
Sure, yeah. But yeah. And talk about trail mix.
talk about trail mix, and then play with balls for a minute, and then cry and go home.
It was basically a porno.
Yep. That's how mine all end. Eating, crying, playing with balls, not necessarily in that order.
Well, cowboy boots.
The cowboy boots as well. Sometimes. Only in the high production value ones.
Yeah. Right.
I got nothing else to say.
No, me either. Me either. I'm gonna miss Utopia though.
I know.
Well, not really, but. So I don't know about next week.
Wait, Guude. Will you sing the song for us?
This is Utopia.
Ding ding.
What is it? Building a brand new start. Oh, I don't remember what it is.
I
Something
honestly
like
thought it was, this is Utopia, blah, 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 blah.
that. I know it's like something like building a brand new start. Yeah, I think it's it. I think it's it.
So, do you think they changed it for the end? This is Utopia. We sucked in the ratings and closed down.
Yeah. I wonder if there was any profit at all. And I wonder
They
what.
sunk 50 mil into it to start. I don't know how much TV shows make, but 50 million seems like a lot more than the average for commercials.
I wish I'd paid attention to the commercials. I always had DVR it, so I just skipped through the commercials. I would.
That's probably part of their problem is nobody can handle it, so they all DVR'd it.
Well, I'm wondering. I wonder what kind of ads they had.
I don't
like,
even know. I
who was
DVR'd every
the
single
actual-
episode as well.
Yeah. Well, I don't have any more, so I can't go back and look. But I'd be curious to see what advertisers were even willing to pay to be on that show.
What demographic they were actually looking at?
That too, yeah. Like, what kind of ads? I mean, who the fuck? Who was watching that show? I'd love to see the numbers. Like,
Well, it actually said, and I don't know how they figure out these numbers, but I guess the first week I had read something that said it was like 4.8 million people, which was apparently way lower than they ever anticipated for how much hyped up that show was.
huh?
By the end, it was the last episode got like 1.2 million, and that's why they were like, nope, done, cut it, it's over.
Wow, 1.2 million people watched that.
Yeah.
I'm blown away by that.
Yep. I also am blown away by it, but I don't know if that means. So, do you know how ratings are done? Because my DirecTV box stays on sometimes when the TV's off. Does that count as a view?
See, I don't know. I don't know where it depends on which ratings, right? Because like the Nielsen rating, is that what it's called?
Yeah, the Nielsen's.
That is manually done. Like you get a thing that you fill out and submit
Every day.
every day or every week, something like that. We had tried to like they sent out these pamphlets like, would you like to be a person? And we were like, we'd watch TV, but we didn't get selected. I don't even know how you get selected. That's the other thing too. Like they sent out this pamphlet, like basically like, would you like? And we were like, we would, and they were like, well, no.
We like.
And they said no. So like, I don't even know why. Why did you waste my time? It's like, fuck you, Nielsen.
So Nielsen's completely manual?
Yeah, well, that's how it was. This was several years ago, but I imagine now it's at least
Online, probably.
But there was a box or something you got too that would keep track of. But you would fill out. There was a thing you filled out. I remember that too. Like there was a manual thing you had to fill out.
So do you think it just assumes like we give it to 10,000 people and assume like random people and assume that these 10,000 people make up the population of America. Therefore, we extrapolate like if you watch this, that means 100,000 people watch this show.
I think so. Because like whenever basically
So
we
10 people watched Utopia.
Yeah,
to get
yeah,
to
maybe.
1 million.
Maybe, I don't know. I imagine that at this point, like you said, your DVR box, those type of things have to get counted too, right? There's somewhere they're tallying all the numbers I would have to fill. But who the fuck knows? I don't know how this shit works. It's way easier on YouTube. There's just a count. Just 301. I think people watched.
Yep. and then it stops for a while. And that's all,
Yeah,
that's all
no one's watching anymore. They're done. They all come back all of a sudden, all at once.
Then lots
It's
of
weird.
people watch it all at one time. It's crazy.
Yes. It's probably how TV works too. There's like 301 people that watch, and then suddenly to 1 million.
Can you imagine? It's actually in a TV studio. They're actually just looking at a YouTube page, and they're like, okay, how's our show doing? How's our show doing? 301. Keep watching it. It stops for a while. They really have no idea that it actually stops because it's like counting other views. It's like, oh my god, we're doing horrible.
We're all out of jobs.
Maybe Utopia is gonna be like Futurama and Family Guy, and it'll come back in reruns, and then it'll be so popular they'll do it again.
Yeah, I imagine that's gonna happen. That's totally. I was reading a Reddit thread where people were actually saying like, please don't give up on this idea. It can be good. You just need to do it again with better ideas.
You just need to do it again without doing the same thing by something completely different. Maybe make another Survivor.
Yeah, could you just make this good and bring it back, please?
If you made it good, people would watch it. Don't give up yet. Minecraft Utopia.
I'm convinced people would watch that. I didn't know 1 million people, but we'd at least get 10, and that's 1 million, right?
That's 1 million to us. And YouTube ratings, we'd be making a hell of a lot more money than they did.
Yeah, I think so.
Oh shit.
Oh man.
All right, dude.
Yeah. Thanks, guys. Bye.
Bye, Utopia.